Pete, you're going to be telling us about one password manager app
Yeah.
you have, right?
Yeah,
So
that's right, Warren.
how
Yeah.
about we just, if these boys don't have anything to say, we just
Yeah,
kind of
let's
listen
go
to
for
the
the
man
demo.
of the
Yeah.
hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So I a few years ago, I started to investigate password managers, and it's not really the kind of thing I like to try and remember everything myself and just not rely on software that sometimes gets in the way and makes things slow. But I sort of realized with all the like data breaches that happen these days, like big companies, well-known companies like LinkedIn and Equifax and Yahoo, were having data breaches, and there's like millions of records were out there of passwords and user IDs and things like that. And I thought, well, actually, at that time, I was still kind of using the same password or similar passwords on different websites, on different apps. So the thought that, there are databases out there that have got like, my user ID, my email address, and then my passwords. I was thinking, somebody could see that was my password for, say, Yahoo, and then try that on a different service. So I thought it really is time to start using a different password for each app, for each website. And of course, these days we all use so many, don't we? There was just no way I was going to be able to remember every single password for every single, website and app. So I started to look at different password managers, and I first went for the commercial one. I used LastPass, and I've got to say, LastPass works great. And I think if anybody wants to use a password manager and maybe they're not very confident technically, then something like LastPass on Android and then on web browsers and then on desktops and laptops, it works really well. And I used it for about a year or so. The problem I had really with LastPass is then some of the features I was using the free version, and some of the features I wanted to use then only became available in like the paid subscription. And originally it was like $1 a month. And I thought, well, that's okay. It's good software. I'll support the development. And, sometimes you have to pay if you want good software. It's not always free or open source. So I was paying $1 a month. And then after a few months, the price went up to $2 a month. And I'm thinking, and I'm thinking, actually, I've got like 100 passwords now stored in LastPass, and I'm using it. It's like my most valuable thing in terms of IT. And they've kind of got these golden handcuffs on me. I was kind of like trapped. So, and that's it. Nobody wants that, do they?
No.
So I started to investigate other password managers, ones that, basically just that run on your device yourself rather than being cloud-based.
Pete, sorry to interrupt you, but just to mention here in passing that last week or this week, LastPass came up saying that, hey, as of March 16th, what's going to happen is that you can only use it on one platform, but if you wanted to sync with other, platforms, then you're going to be paying, the subscription. So just want to throw that out there, so people who use LastPass will be aware of that. So in other words, if you're using it mainly on, say, your Android phone, you can have many Android phones on it as you want, but you cannot say, hey, I have an Apple phone, a Fruitvale phone, or I have to put it on my desktop on there. It's not going to let you do that. But if all you want to do is use it on your computer and have many computers as you want,
that's the advantage to one password. It will give you as many devices as you own. So it may be worth looking at one password.
Well, no. What is going on though? LastPass will let you have the different platforms if you pay for it. But if you're going to be using the free version, now you're going to only be able to use it on one platform. But you could have many devices on that platform as you choose. Does that make sense? You're trying to make a little bit of moolah. How about one password? Is it free, Dennis?
I heard that you can have as many. One password will allow you to have as many devices as you own as part of their subscription. It's not broken.
So yeah, no, but your LastPass would do that too. But what I'm saying is that with LastPass, prior to subscription, now you could, as a free user, you could have many devices, different platforms, and they will all sync. But now, as of the 16th of March, what's going to happen is that you cannot use that on different platforms. You can only have it on one platform, that you could have many devices on that same platform. But if you want it, say, on Windows, on your iPhone, on your Android, or whatever, you'll have to pay $4 a month subscription. I believe that's what the price is. So it's not that it's not going to let you, but as a free user, you can't do that anymore. But you can only do that on one platform with several devices from the same platform. So I think they're kind of following what the one password is doing then. All right, Pete. But I just wanted to mention that, so people are aware of what's going on. And I tell you, so we go back to Pete's story and take it from here, Pete.
Yeah, and this is the point, that when one of these companies changes their pricing model, and you've got all of 100 passwords in there or 200, you're kind of locked into that platform, and they can just put the price up a little bit now and then, and and then over time, you realize you're actually paying quite a lot. And they're great products, they're great password managers, but I didn't want to be locked into anything, especially like being an Android user. We're kind of used to things being open, aren't we, and flexible, and we can choose our own solutions. So I did some research and Googled around, and I found a password manager format called Keepass. So that's Keepass. And that's kind of like the format of the database that you store your passwords in and all your credentials. And there's an app on Android called Keypass, and then the number 2, the digit 2, and then Android. So Keypass 2 Android. It's in the Google Play Store. It's completely free. The developer, he asks maybe buy him a beer, make a small donation, just so it contributes to the development. And the thing is, it uses this Keypass database format, but then on desktop platforms, so Windows and Linux, and there's other different platforms, there's some software called Keepass XC. So just add the letter X and C on the end of it. It's completely free software. It's open source software. The source code gets scrutinized by enthusiasts to make sure it's secure. And what you can do is you can have one single database with everything in there, all your passwords, and you can have a copy of that on your Android phone, on your Android tablet, and use the Keypass 2 Android app. But also that same database, you can then copy it over onto your desktop, your laptop, whatever, and use Keypass XC software on one of those platforms. So you just have one database, share it around all your devices, and you've got access to all of your apps that require login, all of the websites that require login, and it works really well. I would say, to mention, I use some software. I don't know if you guys have come across it, called Syncthing. That's SYNC.
I think some people use that Syncthing. Yeah.
Syncthing. Yeah. Again, completely free software, open source software. It's on GitHub and it's on syncthing.net. And this is software that runs on any Android platform. It runs on Windows. It runs on Linux. And it's just a really great utility that will copy your data across from one device to another. So if you don't want to use a cloud service, if you don't want to use Google Drive or OneDrive or Dropbox, you can sort of replicate your files, your documents on all of your devices, and Syncthing will keep everything up to date. So if you update a document on one device on your Android phone, Syncthing will make sure that it copies that updated version onto your other devices. So every device you have all has the same version. And of course, then every device also acts as like a backup. So, if one day you lost your phone or it got smashed or damaged, all of your data is already backed up onto your laptop, your desktop, through Syncthing. So it's kind of a really useful tool for having the same data on all your devices, but also having a backup on each different device. So it's quite a good system. Again, completely free software. So I'm using Keepass to Android on my Android devices, and the database, my password database, is on there. And then Syncthing takes care of copying that across to all the other devices. And on my Windows and on my Linux, I'm using Keypass XC Password Manager, and it works great. Now, if I sort of go into Keypass to Android on my phone, I think, as you mentioned earlier, Warren, I tend to use magnification, so I'm not a talkback user.
No.
So, guys, just please bear with me while I kind of do the demonstration, talk through what I'm doing.
Sure.
I kind of use magnification. Every year as eyesight changes, the magnification goes up and up and up. I really need to use talkback because I think I'm going to be much more productive. So I think once my phone has got there's like this new version I keep hearing about with the multi-touch gestures. So I think once that's on my phone, I think it's time to make the change. So I'm going to go now I've got an app on my phone. It's so I've chosen an app that requires a user ID and login. So in this case, for this example, I'm just going to go into BBC Sounds. So this is like a little streaming app that the BBC have got for their content, their podcasts and their radio streams. So on the front page, I've got the option to sign in or register. So I'm just going to click on sign in. And there's now a login screen on my phone. So it's asking for email or username. And then below that, it's asking for password. So when I put the focus on the entry box for email or username, at this point, my password manager kicks in and it's superimposed on the screen. It says, fill with Keypass to Android. So I'm going to touch that.
Oh.
And okay, now here we go. Because it's been a while since I've used the password manager, it's asking me now to authenticate that, because I guess my phone, I may have left it on a table in a cafe or something like that, and somebody can pick up my phone. So I've got it set up to authenticate using a fingerprint. So I'm just touching the standard Android fingerprint scanner.
Nice.
Okay, so it authenticated on my fingerprint, and now it's gone back to the BBC app, and it's detected. It's matched on the URI for the app, which is like a URL, isn't it? But kind of used for apps on the storage system. It's detected it's the valid one for BBC, and it's saying, do you want to use your BBC password? So I'm going to touch on that to say use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so easy. And now it's filled in my email address. It's filled in my password for BBC. So all I need to do now is on the BBC app is touch on the sign in button, and that's it. It's logged me in. So I'm now logged in. So actually, for anybody, I mean, a lot of people are using passwords managers now, but the point is that I don't even know my password for BBC. It's like 40 characters long. It's using all the special characters, all the strange characters. It's using uppercase, lowercase. I don't even know what it is. And the thing is, I'm only using that password for BBC, nowhere else. And that's kind of repeated everywhere. So every website, every app, in the password manager, I've got, they've all got their own password, and I just change them, each one occasionally from time to time. And then if ever there's a breach and the data gets leaked and published on the internet, on public internet, it's only that one breach, that one password that's exposed, because I'm not using that password anywhere else. If some hacker downloads the database and they see my email address, but that password will only work with the BBC, and you know what? I'll just change it. So they can't even use that anymore either.
That's beautiful.
I just have a comment on the password manager demo. So if you go to a website called HAVEIBENPWNED.com, and we'll have this in our show notes, you put your email ID there and just click on the button, and you will be shocked at the number of breaches that your email ID has been involved in.
Yeah, that's a really great website, isn't it, Austin? Have I Been Pwned? And you spelt it, and that it lists all the breaches, where your email is and the password. And, can I mention another website very similar to Have I Been Pwned, but there's one called breachdirectory.tk. So that's breachdirectory.tk. So it's breachdirectory.tk. Very similar to Have I Been Pwned. You can put in your email address, and it will tell you all the different breaches where your email address is. Here's the thing as well. It also shows a few characters of the password from each of those places.
That is serious. And if you are on the blacklist of the breaches, then you change your passwords ASAP.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I noticed that, because I use the Google, and Google Password Manager does that too. It reveals to you how many of your, passwords have been breached, and you could change that.